What's going on YouTube? So the Jeep Cherokee has long been an important part of the Jeep brand. However, it left their lineup a couple years ago. But that is changing right now. We have the all-new 2026 Jeep Cherokee, which is promising to be better than its predecessor in every way, and also debuts a brand new hybrid system. So let's go ahead and dig in and take a detailed first look. So let's get started here with the exterior design. Now obviously we've got a new look, but of course it's going to honor Jeep's heritage. There's certain design elements you just expect to see from a Jeep, and it really doesn't have just a scaled down look from a Grand Cherokee. It's got its own distinct character. So you're going to have a few different trims you can choose from. Each one's going to vary just a little bit. We're looking at the limited trim. You've got that signature 7-slot grille that you need on every single Jeep, but with kind of a different dimension, and then a little bit of gloss black accenting that connects right into the headlight unit. Now obviously in the lower fascia, we're going to have a very rugged look. It's quite boxy looking here in person. This is also going to have standard 8 inches of ground clearance, so that every version of this has some good off-road capability built right in. Now speaking of the lighting itself, we've got a full LED headlight arrangement. As you can see, these are reflector LEDs. We also have a new signature that kind of wraps around and goes upward. This is designed to connect it to the previous generations as well as the Wrangler. And then down below you'll find some LED fog lights. Now moving on to the wheels, the same thing is going to apply as with the front design. Each trim is going to have some different versions. This is an 18-inch alloy. We kind of got that boxy design, which looks quite nice. You can get 20-inch alloys on your Overland trim. And then the cladding is actually fairly subtle. It's still got a squared off wheel arch, but it's not too thick overall. A little bit more of that goes along the bottom here. And in terms of our mirrors, we expect to find all the standard affair of technology, including standard blind spot monitoring.
So here at the side of the Cherokee, there's quite a lot to talk about. This is riding on their new Stella large platform, and this vehicle is actually going to be wider, longer, and taller than before. So as far as overall vehicle length, it's about 5 inches longer. So overall, it's 188 inches long, which means it's positioned as a mid-size offering. Now, as far as the height, that's about 2 inches taller, so it's very blocky here at the side and very tall. We also do have these very unique looking roof rails, as well as an available two-tone roof on this model to really spice up the overall design. And then as we head around it to the rear, I'll give Drew a second to reposition. You'll find a very cool design. I think just like the front, they've done a great job of kind of tying in those heritage elements as well as fully modernizing it back here. It's also going to have a very squared off and boxy appearance to it. So let's break down some of the individual design elements. We have a spoiler up top. We have a wiper right through here. Prominent Jeep branding, of course, and then looking at our taillights, I have to say I really like the way these look. So they're very simple, honestly. They're just a square design. They look to be fully LED as well. And then as we drop down to the lower fascia, this is all going to be a mixture of matte black plastic as well as a little bit of silver accenting. As far as the tow rating for this model, Jeep says it's coming in at 3,500 pounds, which is actually very good for this segment. Now, safety is, of course, very important for this model as well, and let's go ahead and talk about what safety features are going to get included. All of your active safety features will likely be standard equipment, and that's even going to include an active drive assistant, which is level 2 semi-autonomous driving. That's standard on every single model. But guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the interior as well as the rear seat and cargo space. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. All right, let's check out the all-new interior. First, here's our key. Typical Jeep key fob on board. You have a smart entry system with remote startability as well. And then getting inside the vehicle itself, you can see that this model kind of gets those new door handles we've seen on some recent Jeep products, where you have a touch sensor behind the handle to open it up. Now, let's take a look inside the interior. Like I was mentioning, this is the limited trim, so it's not quite top of the line. The Overland is going to be the higher end version, but it is still very well equipped, and you're going to see a lot of the luxury features on this trim level as well. I'll begin by talking about the seats. So your lower two trims, those are going to come with cloth seats. However, the Limited and the Overland come with capri faux leather. So this is not a real leather. That being said, it does feel super realistic. I don't think most people would be able to tell the difference at all. This is also going to be offered in black or gray options. As you can see, we have power adjusting seats as well. And at least here on the Limited, there are not any memory seats for this tester. But let's go ahead and climb on inside. Now, closing up the door, let's feel around at the overall cabin materials. Now, I do apologize, the lighting is not fantastic here, but this is what we have been given today. So, taking a look over here at the door trim, we've got a leatherette with a stitching detail, more of that through here. Soft touch plastic along the top, and then this nice looking leather accent. I like the texture and the stitching details through there. They finished the upper dash with a leatherette material. Through here, we've got this textured trim. Again, this will change depending on the trim level. More stitch details running through here. Not padded along the console, and then more of that textured trim down in the center. They did move. The power button is located right there in front of the shifter like the Wagoneer S. Now, obviously, today we're in a studio setting, so I'm not firing up the engine, but we did boot up the electronics still, and let's work our way through some of the details of this interior. So first of all, with our gauge cluster, we've got a standard digital gauge cluster. Again, this is a pre-production model, of course. That's why you're seeing different warning lights and whatnot. But this will be fully reconfigurable with a lot of different designs, Jeep says. Of course, as we pull back to the steering wheel, this is one of the things I really like about this interior. You can see we've got this brand new and very unique looking steering wheel. It's kind of squared off on the top and the bottom. It's very thick feeling. It's super premium in the overall execution. So I definitely like this. Obviously, heating, things like that are going to be offered on this model. As we take a look at our storage next, this is a pretty big SUV, so we've got plenty of storage in the center console. This looks like it's going to fit a lot of donuts, although, of course, we don't have our donuts with us for this very early first look. We also have this large wireless phone charging pad that you can slide your phone into like so. 2 cup holders, and then a really big center storage bin. This is absolutely huge. Definitely just as much storage, it seems like, as the larger Grand Cherokee. Now the shifter, Jeep says, is made of real metal. You can feel that as soon as you touch it, so it's a nice premium rotary design. Obviously, you are going to have features such as a 360 camera offered as well. Your electronic brake and auto hold are located back there. And of course, you've got your signature terrain select controller where you can go through your different modes depending on what terrain and circumstances you are driving through. Now, as we shift our attention up into this area, one of the things you'll notice is that we've got climate controls located right through there. This is a dual zone automatic setup. These are touch sensitive, but they have haptic feedback, so it should be relatively easy to use while driving, and then additional climate functions like many other Stellantis products is going to be located up here in the main screen. Now, both heated and ventilated seats are, of course, available, and you have controls over here to turn those on and off more easily than inside of the screen itself. Now, also in this area, you've got your volume knob. There's going to be a couple different audio systems. This version will have the Alpine sound system, so that's going to be the up-level offering. Now, the screen itself, this is something I want to discuss because we have a standard 12.3-inch display, so Jeep's not doing like some of the rivals and kind of splitting it between a small display and an advanced display. They're giving every single one this display. Also, looking at the resolution, it seems a little bit sharper than some of the recent Jeeps we've been in. It still has Uconnect 5.0 software, so it's exactly the same as what you've been used to in other Stellantis products, and you have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Up top, we've got an auto-dimming mirror. HomeLink remotes are up here in the visor. And then, as you can see, there is an available panoramic sunroof. It has a sunshade, and the front panel opens up.
All right, so let's talk about the rear seats of the new Jeep Cherokee. Now, like I said, this vehicle is wider, it's longer, and it's taller. So that probably means that there's more rear space, and indeed there is. So Jeep is saying that it has an inch more rear legroom than the previous Cherokee, which will put this at about 41.3 inches of rear legroom. Now, depending on what you're cross-shopping that with, that is a very impressive legroom figure. It's going to be one of the class leaders, that is for sure. Now, as far as, our knee room figure, of course, we brought along the Car Confections ruler. Hopefully you can see it. It is very dark back here in the rear. From behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, I am 5'9" for reference. We're sitting at 8.5 inches of knee room. My feet can slide up underneath of the seat. These seats are quite comfortable. And then as far as reclining, they do have the ability to recline a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. Now, if we fold down the armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside. And then let's take a look at some of your features that you can expect. We have vents right here in the center area. Down below that, we have 2 USB ports, and you're also going to have the option of getting heated back seats. I believe that is included on the Overland model. Now, if you look over at the door trim, the upper part is going to be a hard touch, so they did cheap out on that a little bit, but overall, the door trim is very nicely done with leatherette on the armrest portion, as well as plenty of door storage. And now let's check out the cargo area as well. So just like the rear seats, this has also been improved by a significant measure. Jeep says it's actually improved by up to about 30% over the previous model. So as far as the actual cargo dimensions, you're looking at about 33 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. If we fold those seats down, 68 cubic feet. That is a very good cargo capacity, that is for sure. And like I said, depending on what segment you're cross-shopping with, that is going to be one of the biggest ones that you can get. Speaking of segments you may be cross-shopping with, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, the reason you do that is because we've gone through numerous vehicle segments, the midsize SUV segment or the compact SUV segment, and we've ranked them in individual categories that might matter more or less to you. Things like overall cargo capacity, powertrain options, interior technology, luxury features. All of that is detailed for you on our website. So if you want to make an informed buying decision in this very competitive vehicle segment, we'd encourage you to use our tool, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, back to this Cherokee. In order to fold the seats down, there are not any handles here in the cargo area to do so, so I will have to kind of go up there in the second row and do it myself. And with those seats folded flat, they do fold at 60-40 split. Let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as cargo length, we are looking at 76 inches behind Drew's driving position. Behind the second row of seats, about 37 inches of length. The opening, they said they were able to make it very wide, and indeed that's true, 45 inches wide. As far as height, that's also going to be pretty decent, 28 inches. And then load in, let's quickly get that as well. That's also pretty good, 31 inches as our load in. I do also want to point out, thankfully Jeep is keeping the spare tire, so even though this is a hybrid, spoiler alert, you do still have a spare tire back here.
Now we're standing over here with a previous generation model. Actually, we have all of the previous generations located behind, because I want to talk about one of the more important aspects that is changing, between these old ones and, of course, that brand new one, and that's that we're moving to a new hybrid system. So this is actually the first Stellantis traditional hybrid system to be offered in North America. All the previous ones they had were plug-in hybrids. This is a traditional hybrid. Well, what makes up that? It's a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's going to be paired with 2 electric motors and a lithium-ion battery pack. Power is going to be very strong for this vehicle. You have 210 horsepower and 230 pound-feet of torque. Now you have a 2-motor EVT as your transmission, and of course you have a 4-wheel drive system. It is a Jeep after all, so you expect that. This is a real 4x4 system as well, so it does have that physical connection. It's not using an E-axle. Now, in terms of fuel economy, that of course is very important for this vehicle, and it's going to be a big step in the right direction. We have up to 37 miles per gallon combined. Jeep actually thinks that it should be able to get about 40 miles per gallon on the highway as well, once the vehicle is officially rated by the EPA. Jeep also says that this will have about 500 miles of range, and I want to point out that at least at the launch, this will be the only powertrain available. Now, of course, this is a very early first look, so we're not going to be driving this vehicle quite yet, but of course, stay tuned to our channel because we will be getting behind the wheel of this new Cherokee hybrid as soon as possible to show you guys.
Now it's time to discuss pricing and availability. Now when it comes to pricing, we do actually have official details from Jeep, so that's pretty rare for a first look. We're sitting at $36,995 as the base price for this Cherokee model. That includes the destination charge, so it's actually about $35,000 before destination. The Laredo, $39,995, the Limited, $42,495, which is what you've been seeing today, and the Overland is just a hair under $46,000. Now, if you're looking to buy a Jeep Cherokee or any new vehicle, we encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. Now, when it comes to availability, thankfully, you're not going to have to wait too much longer to get this new Cherokee. Jeep says this will be arriving at dealers in Q4 of 2025, so not much longer at all. And guys, that's going to wrap up our first look review of the all-new 2026 Jeep Cherokee. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and we'll also be covering this car in much more detail later on. So if you're at all interested in this or any other vehicle in the segment, do yourself a favor and subscribe down below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. And if you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your support.